Renee, your thoughts on this Williams guy whose name has been floated prominently toward the top of the list yesterday? He said all the coach speak things, but he is got a bowl game this Saturday out in Los Angeles with Boise, Idaho. Two of the girls, and they're ready to go. Whoa, whoa. Were you a Skinner fan, Cinco, back in the day?
I can appreciate them, but they kind of didn't make my radar. That doesn't mean they aren't quality or one of the greats.
Stuff.
I just did. They weren't happening for me.
Police say we can't drink in the bar. What a shame. Come back to my place. We have a drink of champagne. All right, Cinco. So your thoughts on, because one of the things we're going to do is we're going to vet him because we're going to get the lowdown on the Illini coming up. I want to also talk about potential opt-outs for the Vols, some of the names I'm hearing. And then what I think Tennessee's going to do with regards to this DC search and some of the things that this guy had to say yesterday. And is he in it or is he out of it? Or are they playing games here? And but go ahead, Sean. Your thoughts on the concept of this Williams guy from Washington?
Well, it's all good. I don't have a preference on who they hire. I think it's interesting that people are talking about the defensive coordinator, and then they're talking about the strength and conditioning coach.
Mm-hmm.
None of that matters unless the head coach sets the tone. This team was labeled soft by former letter winners there, and that's no secret. But once they put their stamp on it, we can talk about it. This team doesn't tackle. It's undisciplined. It's fraught with penalties at every turn. They don't close out games. Any number, they don't tackle. Any number of things. There's a lot of guys that get hurt relative to the other team they're playing. On and on. That's not Tim Banks's fault. That's not this Kurt Schmidt's fault. That all stems, the tone is set by the head coach. You can bring in another strength and conditioning coach, and if the priority's not set by the head coach, this is what I want, then it's not going to change. If the head coach can't, in year 5, walk down there and say, I'm tired of watching these missed tackles. I'm tired of watching this nonsense zone. I'm tired of watching this. Then it doesn't matter who you hire. If you're not going to have guys that are running gassers for being off sides or not aligning up, it doesn't matter who the assistant coaches are. All of this falls on Josh Heupel. Now, he took the first step by saying, hey, I need to make a change. And Tim Banks, he's as good as, he's fine. It wouldn't surprise him if he goes to his next job and does well. But the tone has to be set by the head coach and not pushing it off so it looks like someone else is not doing the job. Every single aspect of what we saw on the field starts and ends with Josh Heupel.
Yes. And, of course, I'm calling this guy Williams because a buddy of mine today was teasing me. We were talking about this, and I was getting and he's a guy that helps me out with information, but we were down. He goes, Tony, you're going to call this guy Williams when they hire him about 1 million times, and his name is Walters. And so this is the fun. The fun part, and I think Sean's right, is that because I was talking today with my man Dubsy, Russell Smith, who was out at the corner yesterday. No, he was out at where was Dubsy? He was out at
Smoky Mountain
Brewery, yeah. And we were talking about just comparing notes and talking about this thing. And of course, Russell's up later on today here, but his take is, and he's right, is they need some people with edge on that staff. And Sean, it kind of comes back to what you're saying. That at some point, the edge has to come from the head coach, doesn't it?
Not at some time, at every time.
Oh.
When go back to Nick, look, these are all learning opportunities. Not one incident is a thing that you just brand the guy this or that. These are all you have to learn from the Nico thing. You have to learn from the Boo Carter thing. You have to learn time and time again how you're just mangling end of half or end of game, and he mangles them.
Gosh, Sean, you're in a bad mood today. Sean,
just puts himself at a disadvantage.
Cinco, I'm in a happy mood because I got moved on from Banks. Put on a happy face. To him, Banks is no more.
It's not Banks' fault.
Put on a happy face. Come on, man. It was his fault. He was terrible.
No, he didn't. Look. I'm not advocating for Banks to say, but what I'm saying is, if you're not going to have your defensive coordinator, if you're going to sit through 5 years of him not recruiting, if you're going to sit through and watch his position group be the worst on the team year in and year out without making a change, that's on you. I'm not advocating for, someone says in here in the chat, I'm advocating for Heupel to be fired. Absolutely not.
No.
That's the guy I want running the program.
Yep.
I think he's an offensive genius.
Yep.
But that's what he is right now. He's a $10 million a year offensive coordinator, and he has to start acting like a head coach.
Cinco, Brian, did he just deliver the atomic elbow, the Asian spike from the top rope? Top rope? What was that?
I'll go in a case where Heupel managed the end of a game perfectly, and that was the 2022 Alabama game. Now, I know that was 3 years ago, but that's arguably the biggest win of the decade for the program. So in that situation, in that moment, he was golden. Now, unfortunately,
I think I think you could also say that given the way the Georgia game ended, he managed that game not before the end, but that last drive they managed well to get into the position of a field goal that Gilbert missed. But nonetheless, those two I'll give you. But how many other times are we sitting there just fumbling around, taking timeouts we don't need to take? But your point is accurate, Brian. I give you those two.
Jeremy Werner of Illini Illustrated is going to join, and I'm looking forward to talking to him. He's going to come up. What we're going to get into with the Illini Inquirer fella, Jeremy Werner, not to be confused with Jeremy. I don't know.
Jeremy Pruitt?
Yeah, not to be confused with Jeremy Pruitt. Thank you. Or Ryan Walters. Ryan Walters and Jeremy Werner are two different people.
Ryan Williams.
Or Ryan Williams. Or Jeremy Werner, who's going to be joining us. Or Ryan Werner. So I'll see if I can mangle his name. I just want to speak all that into existence so we can have a lot of fun today. Let's see what else we're going to get into. Yeah, that's a good start. That's a good start. And then we'll talk about some of the things I'm hearing in terms of bowl opt-outs. And then another thing that's going to come on the radar here. So let me give you the long and short of this before we take a break, because I just want to get this out of the way because I put it up today on the video, so people tune in and they want to see it. And here's where I think the DC thing is. Yesterday, the Washington defensive coordinator was obviously asked about all the smoke that's here in the Knoxville media. And he said, I'm coaching Saturday. This is my place. That all sounds good. I haven't talked to anybody. Let me ask you something in the modern era. How many times have you heard a coach stand up there and say that and then take another job? How often does that happen? Okay, it happens a lot. Thank you. So here's
their season's
if I can talk
done on Saturday.
Yeah, if I can, yeah. So they play a bowl game Saturday. They're done. They're done. And then who knows? Between now and then, I believe that's Tennessee's number one choice. I think the guy at James Madison is number two, like I wrote yesterday. Look, I think that Coach Heupel is also going to talk to some other people, and I think that why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? I would. I mean, I would ask around, call around, check around, see around. Why wouldn't you? And so here's the thing. Whomever they hire, and I wrote about this today, they're going to give autonomy to in terms of what's going to happen with the staff because that person's going to ask for it. Nobody's going to come in and shotgun with the defensive coaches that are on the staff. It's neat to think that. It's not how this works. The second thing is they're going to have to give this person at least a 3-year deal. Why? Because the guy at Washington, why would I leave there? I'm in that first year. I'm under contract, that whole thing. So, like I said yesterday, just because somebody's your top target doesn't mean you get them. I still believe that guy is their top target. Doesn't mean you get them. That's why we were sort of talking about the last couple of days. We were spitballing on some guys a couple of days ago. And we go with the story as it takes us. But do I believe this guy yesterday that he's had no contact with Tennessee? Absolutely not. No, I don't believe that. And to suggest otherwise, look, do I think there was an effort yesterday to maybe tamp this thing down in certain circles before they play a bowl game? Yeah, I do think that. And do I think that happens? Yes, I do think that goes on. So we'll find out on the other side what, if it is this Walters fella, what we can expect from a guy who's covered Illinois sports for a while, knows, been there and done that. And also, we preview what could be in store for Illinois. The other thing that's about to come on the front burner here is Tennessee is fanning out, looking at quarterbacks. I believe that Tennessee is getting ready to go for a quarterback that can play. That's my belief. Not a stopgap, but a quarterback that can play. So make your list. Check it twice. I'm going to find out if who you said quarterback is naughty or nice. We continue with more. On the other side, Jeremy Werner, Illini Inquirer after this.
Living Vol fan, make Alumni Hall your one-stop shop for all your Vol fans on your shopping list this holiday season. There's nothing better than getting your favorite Tennessee gear under the tree. Picture it, a nice polo shirt, a new hoodie, something for the man cave. My friends at Alumni Hall, best selection of Tennessee gear. Alumni Hall, 3 Knoxville locations, Bristol, Johnson City, Murfreesboro, or online at Alumni. It's easy to have a big orange Christmas. And happy holidays from everyone at Alumni Hall. The ultimate volunteer shopping experience. Alumni Hall.
Calhoun's invites you to leave the cooking to us all holiday season long. Between now and the end of the year, feast without the fuss when you host at the holidays. Don't you dare cook. Go absolutely next level with this offer. Between now and the first of the year, Calhoun's is offering an incredible deal on delicious turkey or prime rib dinner. You could feed from 5 to 10 people at your home holiday gathering, not lift a finger of preparation. The turkey dinner comes with amazing sides like mashed potatoes, peas, melt-in-your-mouth gravy, dressing to die for, fresh rolls, cranberries, and homemade cheesecake. And that prime rib dinner features amazing melt-in-your-mouth prime rib, fresh mashed potatoes, au jus, green beans, gravy, rolls, horseradish sauce, and delicious fresh baked cheesecake. This amazing offering is available now through the new year. Call to place your order today. More information found at holidayfeedpack.com. Again, that's holidayfeedpack.com. Feast without the fuss this holiday season with Calhoun's, the taste of Tennessee.
When it's time for your next move, you want to get your precious belongings from point A to point B with your peace of mind intact. That's why you need to call my friends at Gufon Moving and Storage, East Tennessee's moving legend. Gufon Moving and Storage has moved since 1887. That's 138 years, 5 generations. That's even longer than the Dooley, Jones, and Pruitt era combined. Gufon Moving and Storage, pro movers, serving Knoxville, surrounding areas, and interstate moves too, both residential and commercial. And we'll provide you with personalized service that other corporate movers simply cannot. We know how to move all types of items. We pay careful attention to our clients' valuables. Your satisfaction as a customer is our absolute priority. As the oldest continually owned and operated family moving business in the United States, when it's time time for your next move. It's Gufan Moving and Storage. And storage, it's secure and vaulted. Our newest offering of commercial storage logistics. We offer receiving, storage, and delivery services for all your business logistic needs. See more at Gufan.com. That's Gufan.com. Or check out the link at tclub.team. When it's time for your next move, East Tennessee's moving legend, Gufan Moving and Storage. Life never stops moving. And between the 30-minute commutes, daycare pickups, weekly soccer practice, Tuesday night yoga, X number of coffee runs, and that weekend trip to grandma's, you're racking up the miles. What you need is a tire that can keep up. A tire designed for doers. A tire that's going to last. Like the exceptionally long-lasting Michelin Defender tire. With an 80,000-mile warranty and the safety and comfort you expect, you can forget all about the miles ahead and focus on getting to your destination or conquering your to-do list. Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. That's Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. Fleet Tire.
Inward Half is committed to the game and the memorable moments that happen in between. From the tee box to the tailgate, from the green to the big game. For the first birdie with Dad, the big win with Mom. Friday night lights, Saturday superstitions, Sunday traditions. Fall into the comfort and unparalleled performance of Inward Half. This fall, enjoy the walk-in.
Are you tired of hiding your smile because of crooked teeth? At Knoxville Smiles, we've got the perfect solution. Invisalign. No metal, no wires. Just clear, comfortable aligners that straighten your teeth without anyone noticing. Eat what you want, smile with confidence, and see results in as little as 6 months. Call us today for more information about Invisalign, 865-539-1776. Or just visit us online at knoxvillesmiles.com. Smile brighter with Knoxville Smiles.
Out-of-town law firms have been swarming into East Tennessee lately. From Memphis, Chattanooga, and Birmingham, they've stormed into the area. Wouldn't you rather do business with a local firm? You know, a true neighbor. Marcos Garza and the pros at the Garza Law Firm are just that. There are neighbors and friends that support local causes year-round. The Garza Law Firm works to serve you professionally on criminal matters, injuries and accident matters, and Social Security and disability filings. The Garza Law Firm is here for you at garzalaw.com. The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Holiday cooking? Holiday guests? Your drains will be working overtime. Avoid clogs and backups this holiday season with Pipe Wrench. We'll clear your clogged drain for $99. Guaranteed to work, or it's free. With Pipe Wrench Home Services same-day service guarantee, our certified plumbers get there fast and have the tools and expertise to clear the most stubborn clogged drains. And if we can't clear it, you don't pay for it. Have other plumbing or HVAC problems? We make it easy with free on-site estimates on replacements and free second opinions on repairs. So call or schedule your appointment online at pipewrench.com and we'll clear your clogged drain for $99 or it's free. We are committed to keeping your home cozy and worry-free this holiday season. Pipe Wrench Home Services, trusted in Knoxville, Maryville, Oak Ridge, and neighboring communities for over 20 years. And as always, same-day service guaranteed or the visit is free. For residential main lines only and requires clean-out access. Visit pipewrench.com for details.
TB here with Alan of WeShipFloors.com. Tell them about it, Alan.
Hey, I'm Alan from WeShipFloors.com. Our competition's prices, well, they're going up. Ours are coming down. Our waterproof floor Supercore is the best, and right now it starts at $199 a square foot. Our warehouses are full of 4mm, 6mm, and 8mm. You strapped for cash? Well, we have our own in-house financing. Use our room visualizer and order some free samples today. Supercore from WeShipFloors.com. Best products at best price.
Like Alan said, head over to WeShipFloors.com. Use the room visualizer on the website. Drop in any of the 120 Supercore floors virtually into your room and order your free samples today. WeShipFloors.com. Tennesseans, they are us. The best product, the best price. WeShipFloors.com. T to the B back with you. Ladies and gentlemen, back by popular demand, back for the crown. Jeremy Werner, Illini Inquirer, who last week came on here and told me that Illinois can't shoot the basketball. And then they just absolutely blasted us down in Nashville shooting the basketball. Who were those masked men, Jeremy?
Finally find the bottom of the net there. They did it against Ohio State last night too. And when that team's shooting well, they're really, really difficult to cover offensively. I mean, you guys saw Keaton Wagler, the freshman. He's turning into a first-round NBA draft prospect, kind of under-the-radar guy that Kansas let get out of their home state. And then they just got a bunch of big men that are really skilled, can really shoot it. Andrej Stojakovic didn't play well against Tennessee, turns around last night, has 17 points. So they just got a lot of answers offensively, and that's where I felt like Tennessee just didn't. They obviously owned the glass against Illinois, but you got to put the ball in the bucket, and Illinois just had more guys that could do that, in my opinion.
Oh, there's no question. And Tennessee's got Nate Ament, who's playing his way from a top of the level NBA draft pick to a guy that looks like he belongs with the old Rockford Lightning in the CBA, if you know what I mean. I mean, he does not look – you're a hoops guy. What did you see from Nate Ament the other night?
Looks like a guy who had to play against some grown men and isn't ready for it. You know, I know he's playing a new role, going from like the 4 to the 3 for them, and that certainly will be his spot in the NBA. But that's the hard part of when you rely on freshmen to be go-to scorers. Illinois went through it last year with Kasper Shakashonis and Will Riley, two done guys. But Will Riley took a long time to get adjusted to the college game. Now, when it clicked, and he was one of the best players on the team late in the season. But Kasper Shakashonis, who was phenomenal in the first couple months, he hit a wall. So the freshman comes in consistency most of the time, and that's kind of what's been amazing to see out of Keaton Wagler is the moment isn't too big for him. The physicality, for the most part, hasn't been too big for him. But Nate Ament, skinny, lanky, really talented, really athletic. You're going to need him. Obviously, you put a lot into him. I wouldn't give up on him quite yet, but he's going through what a lot of freshmen go through. And sometimes we got to remember, these are freshmen, even if they are projected lottery picks. So he's got a bright future. It's just, Tennessee's got to tap into it quickly.
Yeah, and they have development arcs too. Kids do. You start here and you end up there, and everything's
it's not always linear. And
it's not always 1 year. So, but with teams now, you're not afforded that because you put these teams together year to year. And so you got to start here and end there, and hopefully for Tennessee, because Illinois looks like they're getting ready to take off. All right, so let's talk about Illinois football for a second.
Yeah, one thing about the one and dones is you're usually not getting the best version of them in college, right?
No.
A lot of them outside of the Boozers and the Bonces and in that level of player, you're usually not getting the best of them then. So I know fan bases struggle with that a little bit. Illinois dealt with it last year where it's like, hey, these guys are lottery picks, first-round picks. Well, they're not as consistent as that. It's like, well, that's not what the NBA is picking them for. The NBA is picking them for their long-term potential.
Yeah, and the NBA, some of them will be, playing in the bus leagues in a couple of years, and a few of them stick, and that's their system. And we've seen some guys come and go here that are now in the bus leagues or back home in less than 5 years, like a Keon Johnson, et cetera. But we're joined today by Jeremy Warner, Illini Inquirer. So the bowl game is announced. The first thing that comes to mind is Luke Altmaier. The second thing that comes to mind is Tennessee's now chasing a defensive coordinator that made his bones there. But let's talk about Altmaier first. That happened last spring, and it's funny how intermingled the sport is now. You and I were talking off the air. When you guys were, from your position, following something like that, how hard is it to watch a courtship, yet you can't get anybody to really talk about it on the record or to know what really went on there? How doggedly do you think Tennessee pursued him?
Very doggedly. This was real. It was real that Tennessee really wanted Luke Altmaier. Luke Altmaier was not in the transfer portal, so all the discussions went through other people, but people around him knew that Tennessee wanted him, and Tennessee ponied up the money to try and get him. From what I understand, it was more than double that what Illinois ultimately paid Luke Altmaier this year. So they wanted him really, really bad. Obviously, they had the situation with Nico and put them in a tough bind, and I know Luke wasn't the only sitting quarterback who was a starter that they pursued. It made for a very stressful Easter weekend for me as I'm with the family, and I got to dig into all of this. And listen, that's hanging over the program. If they don't have Luke Altmaier this year, they might not be in a bowl game. That's how important he is. But kudos to Luke Altmaier. He had a huge, hefty offer on the table, but he didn't want to run from happiness. He was happy here. He was already in the SEC. He's a Starkville, Mississippi kid. Dad was named doctor at Mississippi State, played at Ole Miss. Thought he had won the job against Jackson Dart, ended up not being that way. Jackson Dart becomes a first-round draft pick, so it didn't look like a bad decision by Lane Kiffin. but Luke got a second chance here. Illinois stuck with him through some ups and downs. His first year as a starter, and he really turned himself into one of the best quarterbacks in the country last year. And, Tennessee coming into last season had a lot of question marks about its offensive line, about its wide receivers. Ended up pretty well at wide receiver this year. But Illinois had some more answers there. He knew the coordinator. He knew the quarterbacks coach. He knew the head coach. He trusted them. So Luke made good money here. Would have made better money at Tennessee, but he didn't want to run from happiness, and he was loyal to Illinois. And he'll go down as an Illini legend because, he's third all-time in quarterback wins here. He's one of the most prolific passers here. But sticking to Illinois when he could have gone back to the SEC has endeared himself completely to Illini fans when he passed up a lot of money, significant money to go there.
So that was a kind of a reported known thing there then that he turned the Vols down.
Yeah. I mean, it was not that quiet. We talked about it a little bit, didn't refer to Tennessee in particular, but Tennessee wasn't the only SEC program to sniff around. Around the bowl game last year for Illinois, their quarterbacks are SEC teams that need quarterbacks in the SEC, and there were offers on the table there. So, he didn't specifically bring up Tennessee. We'll ask him about this. Brett Bielema was asked about it this week. He didn't dive into it. Brett's not going to go into that. Part of the game now. But, I did a lot of digging around Luke, around that whole situation, both sides of it, and it's accurate that Tennessee came after him, and Luke Altmaier ultimately turned him down to come back to Illinois for a year.
Yeah, he's the guy they got closest with. And then talking to people around it, they were really impressed with what a high character guy he was, and just the way the way those people around him kind of comported themselves. And it's all a mess, man. The way they've structured the sport right now. You and I were talking off the air about how this Indiana story looks like a cute little story on the outside, but you're like, hey, man, they're spending money there at Indiana. Talk to me here.
Yeah, Big Ten's serious about football. The SEC for years, at least it's the Big Ten perspective, right? Like, I'm not saying it's accurate or whatever, but the Big Ten perspective all those years was the SEC's paying these players anyway. The Big Ten was just trying to follow the rules, follow the rule book, but these are huge universities. These are huge alumni bases, bigger than most of the SEC. And there's a ton of money in this conference. There's a ton of big donors in this conference. And now they're weaponized. So a school like Indiana that wants to use fan base, that wants to pour money into their programs, they can turn it around. They can compete and find Luke Altmaiers and find really good 4-star prospects and turn their fortunes around. So these are deep-pocketed programs up here in the Midwest. I know people in the SEC, it's a deeper conference, has been for a long time. Sure. But I think we're seeing the last 3, 4, 5 years as money has become a legal thing, that the Big Ten, especially at the top, is catching up. And then you're starting to see some other programs rise. Well, you're seeing some other programs like Wisconsin, which did not get on board with the money train right away, starting to struggle a little bit. So it's been fascinating to watch, but Indiana, they're great coaches, great evaluators, but they also got money to go get some players and get players like Fernando Mendoza, who's obviously a big-time program changer. So taking nothing away from Kurt Signetti, who's doing unprecedented things, but part of it is money. Like, that is evening out the sport right now, and I think it's really spreading out the talent, which benefits programs like Illinois and Indiana that struggled to get that type of talent before.
Is Kim involved in that?
I don't cover Indiana that in depth, so I know he's involved with the program. I don't know what to a certain degree, but Indiana's got plenty of big-time donors, and he's one of them.
What was your perspective when you saw what they did with Illinois? Because I just thought that was one of the more shocking results of the year, just the way that game went.
Yeah, I was really encouraged Illinois bounced back the next week and beat a really good USC team.
Yes,
to be honest with you, Illinois,
that was a great win.
Illinois,
yes.
Illinois, only won by a last-minute field goal, but they fumbled twice inside the 5-yard line. So they really dominated that game in the trenches. But no, that was a big wake-up call, I think, on both sides. I think it showed that Illinois is not a college football playoff contender, and that proved to be the case. And then it showed that Indiana's for real for a second straight year, and that they had a dude at quarterback. They had great players at wide receiver. And most importantly for me, I just thought their defense was dominant and their offensive line had improved greatly. So they deserve to be the national championship favorite right now. Just what they've done, what they did to Ohio State. And I think Kurt Signetti, there's no better coach in the country right now than what he is doing. So it was a wake-up call for both Illinois that I don't think they were at that level, but also Indiana that they were at that level.
The sport in this era is teaching me every year to believe my eyes. not believe what power ratings say, not
Mhm.
believe what recruiting rankings say, but to trust our eyes. Because really, till you see 5 weeks of this stuff, it's pretty hard to get a feel for the sport, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you got to get a bigger sample size. You got to see who everybody plays. You know, LSU was the number 3 team in the country at one point because they beat, who was it, Clemson and somebody else, and those teams ended up being very good. So yeah, you just got to see what that is. But I think we know those top 4 seeds in the college football playoff look like the real thing. Is there some other teams that maybe could make a run? Ole Miss, Oregon, I don't know if those teams have the capabilities, but I think those top 4 seeds are very deserving of it. So, you know, Indiana, I think, can win a championship. I think Ohio State, despite a setback, has plenty enough to win a championship. Speaking of money, Texas Tech, it's about as good of a roster as money can buy right there. And they found a way to kind of catapult up this thing. And in Georgia, we know what Kirby Smart's program is. So I'd be shocked if one of those teams doesn't win the national championship, but that's why we have a playoff.
Yeah, and it's going to be extremely interesting. All right, let's talk about this bowl game. How important is the bowl game to the Illinois kids?
Yeah, I think, you know, the bowl games, you know, with what Notre Dame's doing with some of the coaching changes, some of the teams opting out, like, and for a program like Tennessee that's used to going to bowl games, it's been to the Music City Bowl how many times? It's not as big of a deal. But for a program like Illinois, it's still a big deal, because they have not been to many bowl games. And you know, I'm going to count it off the top of my head here, but the 21st century, in 01, 07, 10, 11, 14, 19, 22, 24, 25. That's not many bowl games. And these are top tier bowl games in the Big Ten that they're going to. So while I think both these teams entered the season hoping at the best version of themselves to make the college football playoff, it didn't end up being the case. But for Illinois, an 8-win season is still a big deal. This is the first time in program history they've won 8+ games in 3 or 4 years. They have a chance, if they win this game, to win back-to-back 9-win seasons for the first time in program history. They beat their first SEC opponent in program history last year. They could do it again against a big national brand in Tennessee. So all that's to say, this is important. And on paper, just getting the vibes from Tennessee, I think Illinois cares more about this bowl game and the result of this bowl game, because it is a chance for them to continue to propel themselves forward. Tennessee is an established top half of the SEC program. It's won a national championship. The expectations are higher than Music City Bowl. Winning the Music City Bowl against Tennessee in its backyard would be one of the better moments for Illinois, along with the Citrus Bowl against South Carolina, a team everyone was saying should be in the college football playoff, genuinely, and I got that. Illinois beat them. And it wasn't because of opt-outs, because Illinois' best player opted out of that game. I think this game means a lot. I think Illinois is very motivated. I think the fan base is very excited to go down to Nashville. You know, Tennessee, I know it's a short drive for a lot of Vols fans, but for Illinois, this is a destination. Probably going to be 20 degrees cooler than it is in Chicagoland and in Champaign. Gives them a chance to go down to Nashville for New Year's and enjoy it. So I think for Illinois, there is a lot of motivation in this, because there's still a lot to play for. And to be honest with you, it's my question about Tennessee, because they expect bigger, right? Illinois expected bigger coming into this season, but still, I think it could be a very successful season for the program and for Brett Bielema's kind of trajectory here if they get another win over a very, very respected national brand and SEC team.
You mentioned opt-outs. Jeremy Warner joining Illini Inquirer. You mentioned opt-outs. Tennessee, I expect to have 3 or 4. What do you think that number would be from Illinois? And any idea who it could be?
Yeah, I think the one that would make the most sense is Gabe, their best NFL prospect. He's projected to be a top 100 pick, potentially a second-round draft pick. He's the Big Ten sacks leader. Illinois beat out Tennessee. Actually, for him, signing day, he was a Tulane commit. Illinois flipped him. It was Illinois and Tennessee at the very end. He's one of the best. He's number 2 in sacks in Illinois history, behind only Simeon Rice, who's got the Big Ten record, which is unbreakable. So he really doesn't have anything to gain. I would expect he would probably opt out. J.C. Davis, their left tackle, probably mid-round draft pick. He could decide to sit out. Another guy that's worth watching is Matthew Bailey, their redshirt junior safety. Really long, physical, versatile player, one of the better defenders. He's been banged up all year. He's got an NFL draft decision to make as well. So he had a shoulder injury, had a club on his hand, kind of a bionic man this year, but battled through it. So if he decides to maybe get a surgery before the pre-draft process, I don't know if he's going to go to the NFL draft. He's got a decision to make, but that's another guy to watch. And then Xavier Scott, their best corner, he's been out all season with an injury. So I think 3 or 4 would be the most for them. At the best, maybe only 1 with Gabe Akis, but the biggest news for Illinois is I think Luke Altmaier is going to play. He's a potential NFL draft pick, but Brett Bielema seemed to hint the other day that he will play, and Luke told us after their win over Northwestern that he's got some people to talk to, but he loves to play and he's a competitor, and I think he'd really like to play. The Tennessee storyline would be really enticing for him, and the thing nowadays is you can entice the players to play and give them a little extra money to play in the game. So I'm sure that could be part of the process for Luke as well, because without him, I don't think Illinois has much of a chance. With him, I think it'd be a pretty fun game.
And to put a bow on this, Jeremy, it's Tennessee and Illinois Part 2 in the Music City. Part 1 didn't go so well for us. Hopefully Part 2 goes better. And 2 quarterbacks that are easy to root for. One got displaced by Nico and his camp when they pulled their stunt in the spring, which ultimately led Tennessee to go and get to maybe third base with Altmaier, who knows, but they were going to double what he was making, and he stayed there. So in a sense, that's easy to root for, even for a Tennessee fan, easy to root for. And the Aguilar guy came out and had a really nice year for the Vols. So a couple of great stories there.
Yeah. It's, it's a shame that, Joey Aguilar got displaced, but I think ended up a better situation for him. Going from UCLA, which is an absolute disaster. He had a phenomenal year, so kudos to him. That had to be a tough thing to learn a new playbook, learn new teammates. So that's a really tough offense, and I'll be interested with the defense. Tim Banks was here at Illinois. He's the defense coordinator here under Tim Beckman, which is a disaster of a tenure, but I really respected Tim Banks. I know he had some really good years there. It sounds like you guys are sniffing around my guy, Ryan Walters, who is one of my favorite coordinators I've ever covered. That'd be a really interesting fit.
You walked me right into that. What would Tennessee be getting into in Ryan Walters if, in fact, they can get home with him?
You'd be getting a very aggressive defensive coordinator. He's been a little bit more conservative since he left. I loved his play style. Obviously, he had a lot of talent here that helped him become a Broyles Award candidate, helped him become the Purdue head coach. He had Devin Witherspoon, Kirby Joseph, who's an all-pro. Witherspoon was the number 5 pick in the draft. Quan Martin, Sidney Brown, second and third round picks right there. But credit to him, he's the one who put those guys in positions to succeed at that level, because they were not under Lovie Smith. So he loves to play a lot of man-to-man, loves to blitz. He just loves to be aggressive, and he's fine giving up some big plays every once in a while if he creates a lot of negative plays, and it's something he did extremely, extremely well. But he likes to get guys who can play a lot of man coverage. So I think that's what you'd have to get used to. He's gone a little bit more because teams figured him out a little bit. He's gone a little bit more to zone, done a little bit more 50-50, but in his heart, Ryan Walters really likes to play some man coverage and get after people and force college quarterbacks to throw it under pressure into tight windows. But I just think he's incredibly bright. He's incredibly, I know it didn't work out well at Purdue. I think it was just too big of a job too early in his career. But as a defensive coordinator, he teaches incredibly, incredibly well. So as a defensive coordinator, I'm very high on Ryan Walters, and I think that would be a pretty good hire.
Do his teams tackle well?
They did here. So, Purdue, he didn't have as much talent, at least early on. So I know they struggled incredibly well when he became the head coach there.
Yeah.
One fascinating thing here is he played Illinois incredibly well because he knew their personnel so well. But last year, Illinois was far better than Purdue. Purdue lost their last 11 games. He called the offense against Illinois. Like he called the offense and put up 49 points against Illinois. So that tells you how bright of a football mind he is. But no, his teams tackled pretty well at Illinois. I didn't get to break down the Washington film too much, but his guys are always aggressive. He brings an aggressive mindset that I like.
Jeremy Pruitt one year got mad at his staff and called the offense down in where were they? In Nashville one night on a Saturday night, and just got absolutely decapitated by a so-so Vanderbilt team. I mean, it was a brutal, brutal game. So he called both the offense and the defense, and I guess Jeremy wore that one. But that's a pretty good anecdote. Yeah, I guess our fan base looks at him, and people are split because they say the style of play that he plays is kind of being caught up to in the college game. A little bit of the pro stuff and the pressure defenses. But then we look into what he did last year, and the word is that he mixed it up a little bit at Washington, which you alluded to, right?
Yeah, and the team started to figure them out in the Big Ten by the third year of him calling the defense. Aaron Henry, who was the defensive backs coach here under Ryan Walters, became the defense coordinator. They've gone a little bit more conservative and sat in zone coverage. Ryan has certainly gone more towards zone coverage. I mean, when he had Devin Witherspoon here, he ran man coverage 75% of the time.
Oh, yeah.
Now that's more 50-50. For Ryan Walters at Washington. Illinois is probably more 40-60 man to zone this past year, partly due to their personnel issues in the secondary. But yeah, they've changed it a little bit. And that's one thing about Ryan. Like he's got multiple fronts. You're going to see 5-man front, a bear front. You're going to see 4-man front. He's going to mix it up. He likes to say multiple all the time. But I think really highly of him. I think he's always changing. He's always evolving. But he's a really bright football mind.
These, as you know, these SEC jobs tend to be launching pads. If you come in, you're real successful, or they'll launch you right out of there.
Yeah.
How do you think that guy would do in a spot like this in this league?
I think he's ready for that. I mean, he's done it at Missouri. I know it's not quite Tennessee, but he did it at Missouri. He was the first $1 million coordinator at Illinois. Would he make $2 million this past year at Washington? He's been a Big Ten head coach who's dealt with all the pressure, and boy, it got ugly at Purdue. Yeah. So he's dealt with all that stuff, and he's a young head coach, and I think he learned a lot of things about that process. So he wants to be a head coach again, and for him to be a head coach again, I think it is smart to go in another place where you're basically a head coach of a defense, and the attention you're going to get as a Tennessee defensive coordinator, as Tim Banks has learned, one bad year, you can be gone. So I think he knows that to get back to being a head coach, he's got to take a risk like this and be successful at a program like this with expectations like this. So, 2-3 good years at Tennessee and, become a Broyles Award candidate again. He's going to get another head coaching opportunity. So I think that's probably part of his plan.
Well, listen, so do you think that's going to happen? You think because we
I don't know. I
no idea,
haven't talked with whether it's going to happen. I'm not covering Tennessee, but I know a lot of people have reported about him.
Yeah.
I just think he's really bright. I think
sense.
he's a really aggressive coach, which is the style that I really like. And just from a media perspective, he was one of my favorite coaches to cover, because you ask him a question and he'll answer it directly. He'll give you insight on what he's thinking, his defense, all of that. So I just really enjoy covering him.
I love that, man. I really I appreciate
Jeremy,
you going above and beyond for us. Go ahead, Brian. Jump in here.
Yeah, I noticed Illinois, they lost 4 games. They did lose to both playoff participants, Indiana and Ohio State. They also lost to Washington and Coach Walters' team. But the Wisconsin loss was probably a bad loss for them. What happened in that game? Because Wisconsin, as you mentioned before, has struggled. And I wonder if there's something that Tennessee might be able to pick up on that Wisconsin did.
Yeah, well, Washington, they couldn't defend anybody. That offense, and Aaron Henry has been on the hot seat with his fan base ever since then, because it was a pitiful performance. They couldn't stop that offense, and they were just very unaggressive. And Wisconsin just got punched in the mouth in the trenches, which is not very typical of Brett Bielema team. Like Ohio State, they were blow for blow. They just turned it over and had some miscues offensively in special teams more than anything. I thought the defense played pretty well against Ohio State. Wisconsin they couldn't protect Luke Altmaier. They couldn't run the ball. And the defense against one of the worst offenses in the country allowed Wisconsin with their 4th-string quarterback to go 80 yards on their first drive. And then they allowed an 84-yard touchdown run. And Illinois just had to sit back and pass after that, and they couldn't protect Luke Altmaier. So that was their worst loss of the season by far. But then they bounced back and really dominated the trenches in 3 of their last 4 games. Not against great opponents, but they're kind of inconsistent running the ball, protecting Luke Altmaier for most of the season. The offensive line wasn't as consistent, but defensively, they just gave up 2 drives to a team that should not drive on them. So defense has been inconsistent, offensive line inconsistent, and Luke Altmaier didn't have his best game either. So that was definitely their worst performance of the year.
Hey, much appreciated you. If folks want to reach out to you, read your work, how do they do so, Jeremy Werner? And thanks for your time, man.
Yeah, SalonEnquirer.com. You can follow me on Twitter at jwerner247.
My best to you at the holiday season, my brother. Have a safe one. And
All right. See you guys down in Nashville.
You're the man. Jeremy Werner, one more time. Illini Inquirer. Not a bad idea. You know, we ought to go down there. We ought to go down there and do a watch party or something around the Music City Bowl. What do you think, Brian? Watch party for the Music City Bowl? And then do the post-game show down there? What do you think? Do the Garza Law fifth quarter fan reaction around the holidays down there? What do you think, Brian? Create some more work?
If you want to deal with the traffic, knock yourself out.
Huh? Down there on Broadway? Get down there and do the show, or do the show from a spot down there? Interesting. Cinco, your thoughts on the fact that Tennessee offered the Altmaier guy twice as much as he was making, which I'm going to guess is around $2 million or north of that, because he was making about $1 million there. So, and he decided to stay put.
I congratulate the young man. Legacy still means something, at least to me. He didn't sell out his buddies. And, you know, he's going to end his career well thought of there, according to this gentleman.
Yeah,
so
yep.
I congratulate him. And you know what? As most things in life do, things usually work out.
Yep.
I think that I wouldn't trade Joey Aguilar's season for Altmaier and what he might have done here. And so in the end, I hope he enjoyed his time there. I hope he ends his career with a loss to us. And I hope everything goes well for him.
He has a Nashville home they'd like to suggest for us maybe to go down there and do the show from at the Music City Bowl. I'm open to that. By the way, Watson Brown's going to join here on the other side. We're going to talk to him. You know, a couple other things that gentleman said that were kind of interesting lead me to this. We were going to get into the quarterback chase, and I was kind of poking around with a few people today that ought to know. And he going to, you know, we haven't heard anything on his quarterback deal. Are they going to sit pat? Are they going to just get a body? Are they going to do something in between? Are they going to swing for the fences? The belief I'm coming to is they're going to try and get somebody that can play. Now, that doesn't mean they're going to succeed or get home with somebody that can play. I think they're going to try and get this Walters guy. Doesn't mean they're going to get home with him. As you just heard.
You mean the Arizona State quarterback?
Oh, I'm talking about the defensive coordinator. I'm mixing my metaphors here, Brian. I'm mixing metaphors here. No, I'm not talking about anyone in particular. I'm actually not talking about anyone in particular. Obviously, we've talked about the Arizona State quarterback who led his team to a playoff last year, who can play a little bit, who'd probably fit this offense. There are a bunch of guys out there that could probably play in this offense. I mean, the one thing Joey showed you, and Joey was a shotgun marriage, you know. Joey was a guy that, you know, he was there. He was literally there at 3 a.m, not even at 10 at 2. They had no other choices. I mean, if they were going to take somebody home, it was going to be Joey Aguilar at that point. And if he was going to go home with somebody, it was going to be us. So, you know, at that point, you know, you're either going to dance with this guy or not. And so, and as Sean said, it worked out. Now you can be a little more selective. And I wonder how and where Tennessee goes. Do you have any ideas? And then as it relates to this defensive coordinator thing, one thing I'm going to talk with Watson about, I'm going to read you the text I sent Watson today as part of our just kind of, hey, what do you want to get into today? I told Watson, I said, you know, Tim Banks kind of got what was coming to him. I want to talk to you, Watson, about the defensive coordinators in today's game. And if you were in Heupel's shoes, what you would look for. A pressure guy, one of those guys that plays maybe an NFL style, where you put a lot of pressure on your secondary and particularly your corners. Do you target a zone guy? Do you go for a mixed guy? Do you go to a big school? Do you go to a medium school? Do you go to NFL guys? Do you look at the NFL for your coaching talent? Do you maybe elevate a small school guy if it comes to that? And I thought, he said, yeah. He said, I'll have some thoughts on that for sure. Because I think, Sean, you can go any of a myriad of ways, if you're Josh Heupel right now.
Absolutely, you can. I would, not that I'm a coach or anything, but I'd want to, things I'd want to look for is a proven track record of success, preferably a multiple style, a guy that can adjust on the fly, a guy that can utilize his system with the guys they have, not to be married to just one system and complain that you don't have the guys for that system. You need a communicator in this day and time, and preferably a guy that can teach the fundamentals and recruit a little bit.
When we talk about Banks and his recruiting, he just, he came here with a reputation, Sean, as a recruiter. But, man, you just never saw his name mentioned, did you?
Never. Not in 5 years. I had to change my tune on Willie Martinez. I've seen this for a long time, following, dismissals from Oklahoma, Georgia.
Yep.
His first tenure here. I've not been a big fan, but give him credit. The cornerbacks here, if they're under his charge, it's hard to argue with Jermod McCoy, Colton Hood, even what he did with Ty Redmond this year.
Agree.
I mean, if I'm going to rip him, I got to give him credit. But he is always front and center in those recruiting articles about influential coaches that they're looking at, recruits are looking at.
And I was talking to somebody regarding him yesterday, just around the deal, who said that Willie's a guy who treats everybody with a tremendous amount of respect, kind of always has a smile on his face, is a guy that Josh Heupel thinks an awful lot of. Fans always hate the cornerback coach. That's another thing me and Russell were laughing about today, me and Dubsy. Fans always hate the guy that's coaching the corners because in the college game, the corner is going to give up plays. It's just the way it is. Anybody in the secondary is going to give up plays. His corners, unlike the safeties, didn't look like electric football, though. I mean, they looked like they were coached. And people are going to hit plays over you because the rules of the sport are such that people are going to hit plays on you. So if you're out there, they're going to pick at you and they're going to pick on you and you're going to get thrown over. I think it's interesting that if you look back to the Central Florida days, he's the guy that consistently produced NFL players for Josh Heupel. They've consistently produced pro football players here. And the kid that they got from Colorado was playing sparingly at Colorado. Deion Sanders did not fight to keep him. Deion Sanders told people close to him, they put a stopwatch on Colton Hood, and he didn't think he was good enough to get on the field for him. And, he was a rotation guy for them, but he didn't play the amount of snaps he played here. And so, yeah, good on you, man, for putting a little, shall we say, respect on his name. I do think whoever the DC is going to come in and is going to want, in this day and age, some autonomy to bring in their own people. Now, how that works, I don't know. Can you do that at the timetable you're going to do it in? How quickly is this hire going to happen? Who knows? But people pick at Willie Mo. In my mind, he's been okay. I mean, he's not the disaster Tim Banks was. Let's put it that way. As we take a brief time out, we come back with more. Watson Brown joins. It is a Wednesday with Watson, presented by our friends at Simpson's Meats, and it happens. We get to the meat of the matter with our Conzo omelet on the other side after this.
It's the hottest postgame show on the planet. Garza Law. Fifth quarter fan reaction. Fan reaction. As soon as the final gun sounds, we're live.
Score a TD every time with T3 Vodka. T3 is Tennessee's premium vodka, handcrafted with passion, precision, and a whole lot of pride. T3 Vodka is taking the Volunteer State by storm. T3 Vodka, handcrafted in the majesty of the foothills of the Great Smoky Mountains, where quality isn't just a promise, it's a way of life. Filtered 10 times and 80 proof, T3 Vodka delivers a smoothness that's unmatched. This dedication to excellence has already earned T3 Vodka prestigious accolades. T3 is a 5-time gold medal SIPS Consumer Choice Award medal winner. Whether you're sipping it neat or on the rocks or mixing up your favorite cocktail, T3 Vodka is your award-winning experience. Score a T3 TD and ask for T3 Vodka by name at restaurants and wine and liquor stores today. Drink it neat, drink it right, drink T3 Vodka and score a touchdown every time. T3, Tennessee's premium vodka. Distributed by Athens Distributing Company. Please drink responsibly. When it's time for a fresh coat of paint, run, don't walk to Walker's Painting. Interior and exterior, Walker's Painting's been making it beautiful since 1999 across the Knoxville area. New construction, repaints, commercial, residential, free estimates available. And get this, mention you heard Walker's Painting on the Basilio Show, 10% off your first job. Let's go! Run, don't walk to Walker's Painting. 865-688-1410. That's 865-688-1410. Walker's Painting, making it beautiful since 1999. Check out the ad at the blog at tclub.team. Walker's Painting.
Hi, I'm Jim Simpson, owner of Simpson Meats. When's the last time you grilled a really good burger or steak? One your friends still talk about. Our goal at Simpson Meats is to make that every time you have a cookout. All of our cuts of meats, steaks, burgers, briskets, and pork are always fresh, flavorful, and sustainably sourced. We are family-owned, so we know the importance of knowing how and where your food is raised. We have been putting quality first since 1888. Visit our butcher shop off Lovell Road or online at simpsonmeats.com.
Okay, so we really need uniforms and equipment for this season. Can I trust you with that? Cool, I'll just order them online. What? Yeah, I'm going to hop online and I'm going to get them ordered. Hold up. That's not a good idea. We shouldn't just spend money on some random online retailer, okay? I mean, it seems pretty convenient. It's a terrible idea. Let me simplify this for you. SM Athletics. Okay, how do you pronounce it? SM Athletics? They're the go-to for uniforms and equipment, whether it's for universities, high school leagues, you name it. So why wouldn't you rather go with professionals who can guide us through the process, design the perfect uniforms, and deliver the best equipment? That makes sense. What's the name again? SM Athletics. Right. It's definitely smarter to go with a company that emphasizes customer service, fair pricing, and, of course, excellent products. Exactly. So, yeah, I guess it's settled then. For uniforms and equipment for all sports, it's SM Athletics.
Got a problem tree looming over your home? Call ECR Total Landscapes. Whether it's trimming, removal, or storm cleanup, our certified pros get the job done safely and efficiently. We're licensed, insured, and ready 24/7 for emergency calls. Big or small, we cut them all. ECR Total Landscapes. Call now for a free estimate, 865-384-2012, and mention promo code FANRUN for free stump grinding on any tree removal now through the end of the year. Also, visit us at ecrtotallandscapes.com.
Basilio here for Budget Transmissions. TGMD, the great Matt Dixon, took his Ford Escape to budget, and like our gold bullet back in the day, it was a total mess. And now, Matt's back in the game. He's got a new transmission, axle, wheel bearing, both radiator hoses, engine mounts, coolant hoses. I mean, his Ford Escape was about to escape to the junkyard, but he didn't begrudge it. He took it to budget, and now he's on his way back to Omaha. Budget Transmissions, over 30 years in business, conveniently located in Bearden. All extended service contracts are honored. A gold certified Repair Pal member. 865-584-4391. 865-584-4391. Budget Transmissions. Don't begrudge it. Take it to budget.
Josh Collins at Collins Insurance Agency. At Collins Insurance, we strive to ensure our customers receive better coverage along with bigger savings. Our community is important to us. We want to provide exceptional service to our customers. Anybody can provide great rates, great coverage, but can you also get great service? And hey, don't just take my word for it.
What's up, everybody? Zakai Ziegler here. My family turns to Collins Insurance Agency for the best service, coverage, and price.
So don't just go online and get some random insurance. Experience the Collins Insurance difference.
Like he said, experience the Collins Insurance difference. CollinsInsuranceTN.com. InsuranceTN.com. And their Mama's Easy approved. CollinsInsuranceTN.com. Thank you to Josh Collins and ZZ.
One more thing, Tony. Go Vols.
Yee-haw! I've been hooting and hollering ever since I started betting with the VIP Play app. VIP Play has more than 200 leagues, every bet type you can imagine. Live betting and live hosts, all with 24/7 support from real live people when you need them. Start betting better with the VIP Play app today. Don't be a better, be a better with VIP Play today.
VIP Play coming soon. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789. Must be 21 plus and located in Tennessee to bet.
Hey there, Basilio crew. Jennifer Morris, Keller Williams Realty. The holiday season is here, and if your plans include unwrapping your new home, then take advantage of less competition and motivated sellers while others are out fighting over parking spots at the mall. Smart buyers are out snagging deals on great homes, and I'm ready to help. Give me a call, 865-694-5904, or reach out at nextmovesmokymountains.com. That's nextmovesmokymountains.com. And as always, go Vols!
You're listening to FM 105.7 and AM 1340, WKGN Knoxville, and W289CU Knoxville, Fanrun Radio.
Oh, Watson Brown's a happy man. He's got a smile on his face. You know why? He got a package today from my friends at Simpson's Meats. Watson, listen to you. You're fired up. I need the best out of you, man. I need you to be.
I got to bring it.
Yeah.
I have to. I mean, I got paid well today.
They're ripping me on my last hour, Watson, over here on YouTube, so I need you to pick up the pace.
What are they getting on you about, man? I'll have to help you out a little bit.
No, I deserve it.
You do?
Yeah, I keep misidentifying the guy Tennessee's involved with at Washington, and because I got this thing in my brain where his name is something that it's not, and I keep calling the guy Ryan Williams, and his name is Walters. And you ever done that where you just decide this is a person's name? That's just it.
As you get older, you do it a bunch.
Thank you. Thank you.
You do it a bunch. So just get ready. You're just getting started on this problem.
So I wanted to, Sean, I want to turn it over to Sean because he wants to get into something that we're getting ready to see because we haven't seen any opt-outs from Tennessee's bowl game. But now we've got like 8 teams in college football. Well, go ahead, Sean. You jump in here, presented by our friends at Simpsons Beats. So I want to remind you, the holiday season here, family or corporate gifting, look, it is a great gift. If you got friends in your life you want to say thank you to, a premium meat, gift box from Simpsons Meats. And I was told today by Sammy, he said, Tony, you've inundated us. You've kind of blown us away. And it's pretty cool that people are hearing the message. What are they in for when they use Simpsons Meats?
Tony, I haven't eaten a better steak anywhere. I'm talking about, I don't care if you go buy it and eat it in a restaurant, wherever. I have not eaten a better steak. I say it all the time. You can't go and pay what you pay and you eat it and you're going back. You can't go once. You will go back. And just take that bet with me and go try. Just go try, buy it, eat it with your wife. And then if you don't go back, let us know, because I promise you're going back.
Cinco, let's get to the meat of the topic. Go right ahead.
Well, Coach, there was a time when bowl games meant a lot to a lot of people. It meant that you have 15 or so extra practices, almost like a spring practice there. Players, that was their only real time to get some legal money and bowl gifts. And to get to go on a quote-unquote vacation, Florida, California, et cetera. But now kids are making hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars. They're not getting paid extra for the bowl game, I presume. The money they get to travel's insignificant based compared to NIL. And a lot of kids would rather just go home and opt out if it's not of significance, not in the playoffs. But as a coach, what was the value of going to a bowl game? And with respect to getting the kids to practice more?
Overrated. You practiced, but it wasn't. You protected your good players, your lower level players. You didn't want to just kill them on a bowl week. You're not there. Probably what you get, Sean, better was when you practice at home before you went. Those days were probably practices for the young players, but they weren't motivated. I mean, it's probably cold outside, and it's, in those days you didn't have the indoors and all of that. So that's the way I look at it. I think that's overrated. I think recruiting was a piece of it. You wanted to be able to say you went to a bowl because that makes it a good season. You don't go to a bowl and it wasn't a good season. That's the way you were kind of judged in those days. And now I don't even think that's as big, because it's all off. If you don't get to the playoffs, then we've just not been successful. That's kind of the way everybody's looking at it. And with the field getting level, Sean, with all the money that's being thrown around, I mean, look who's in the playoffs. Look who's in the playoffs. You got Oklahoma, you got Alabama, you got Ohio State, you got Georgia. Those four have been there a bunch. They're the traditionals. But then the rest, Texas Tech, Indiana, Miami, even Oregon now, Ole Miss. I can keep going, even down to Tulane, who's spent quite a bit of money this year. They were up with the only group of five that I know that was up with the Power Fours in spending money. There's money being thrown around now, and anybody now can go. Anybody can go if you buy the right guys and put it together, and you still got to coach them. But it's just a different world, and I think what's happening, Sean, I just think that if you don't get to the playoffs, then the fun's gone. And yet the playoff games, they're going to bowls, but it ain't the same. Everybody I've talked to, it's business. They're not getting loose and getting to go downtown. And when we went to the Hawaii Bowl at UAB and the kids have a great time, those days are gone. It's business. It's serious business now. And it's not the Orange Bowl the way it used to be, or the Rose Bowl the way it used to be. So the bowl system has really changed. It's hurt the whole system, in my personal opinion. And they're going to go away with some, because you've got 5 and 7 teams turning down bowls.
Well, Brian,
you got 6 and 6 turning down. They don't have enough to go. So you're going to have to do away with some of them. And I'd go back and do it as 7 and 5, and then go to the 6 and 6 if you don't have enough. I didn't ever have a 6 and 6 that went to a bowl. I had some 7 and 5s in the old days that didn't get to go to bowls. There wasn't enough of them. So I just think the bowl system's really going to have to look in the mirror, man, and what are they going to do with this? Yeah. And the opt-outs on top of that. You're dead right about the money. They like getting the per diems when they traveled and went to bowls, and they like to get out and have a good time. And those were the two big things. Bowls were fun. They were fun when you got there. They weren't real fun when you're practicing on campus, but they're fun when you got there. Now, I'm not even sure that's the case anymore.
You think these coaches, Watson, if you gave them a choice, because obviously when you're in a league, you're going to play in your bowl game. It's just the way it is, unless, and that's the funny thing about, because I thought these leagues shared bowl revenue. Some of these teams that have decided not to go to bowl games this year are in leagues, which I would be like, look, man, you take a cut when you have a bad year. Why wouldn't you go and collect the bowl money for us when you're having or when you're having a good year or a decent year, enough to qualify for a bowl? I can't believe these leagues are letting these teams get away with that, Watson.
I don't know that they are. I saw where some of them have gotten fined for not going, and I think it's a major rift.
Yeah.
Between the commissioner and the school. But guys, when you're a Notre Dame, or you were right there, let's take the difference in Notre Dame and Vanderbilt.
Okay.
And this is very respectful for Vanderbilt to me. When Vanderbilt didn't get in, it hurt. It hurt bad, and they wanted to go. But it's the first time they've been where they are. It's the first time they've been with a shot at getting in the playoffs. And it's the first time to go to a bowl of this caliber that they're going to. they're very excited about it, and should be. And I think all their players are going to play. And yet Notre Dame, who's been there many times, it's not like Vanderbilt. They've been for national championships many times and were there last year. It's such a disappointment to them that it's just a letdown. And so the kids voted not to go. And the coach and the AD let them do that by letting them vote. When you let them vote, and they're going to be true, they're going to tell you how they feel. You ever let kids vote, look out, because you're going to get the. And so I think there's two total differences. And Vanderbilt and their fan base and everybody's excited as they can be, even though they're really disappointed they didn't get in. But think they can get back there again now. They've got everything in place in their minds. And yet Notre Dame is really, really hurt and down. And so I just think there's a big difference to me.
Well, you bring up a great point, too, about Notre Dame. I remember back in the day when I was a kid, Notre Dame decided one year they finished 6-5, and I think it was in the Jerry Faust years, and they just said, look, we're not going to a bowl game. We're not doing that. Yeah. It's kind of beneath us. So this was 40-plus years ago, so Notre Dame.
Yeah, but they weren't in a league, so they could do that.
And they can still do it.
They weren't in a league, and they weren't being forced to go.
And
I'm not sure these commissioners are much control anymore, guys.
No, well.
I'm not sure they did.
Notre Dame's a partial member, in the ACC, as you know, from your brother's days there, which they're not in it football, so they're still kind of flying unattached. I wonder, Watson, if they did this to Notre Dame to put pressure on them to either join the ACC, join the Big Ten, join somebody's league, because you and I both know this stuff's political.
I think I think they're going to end up in a league. I don't know when.
Yeah.
But I just think they're going to near have to.
Yes.
I still think in time, this whole thing, there will be a group of 5 completely different. Next year it's going to be called a group of 6, I think. And there will be 2 Power Fours, 2 conferences just like the NFL. Not tomorrow, not anytime soon, but I'm just telling you, that's where this whole thing is headed.
Yeah.
It's going to be 2, and it's going to be the true power teams that are in it. And it'll be somewhere between 30 and 50 schools.
Yeah.
And that's what it's coming to. I won't be around probably because I'm 75 years old.
No,
you will have a shot because I don't think it's that far away.
You're going to be there.
The more of this stuff, the more money, Tony, the more money that gets put in by these TVs, and it's going to get more and more because I'm telling you, it's successful. They're making their money too. This is not going to drown out and go backwards. I don't think. I really don't. But it's making everybody, Tony. If you don't get in, all of a sudden your fan base thinks it's not a good year.
Yeah,
it's not a good year, and there's not many of the Vanderbilts out there. And if Vanderbilt goes again next year and don't get in, they will be disappointed the same way. I'm not throw out the word Vanderbilt because I went to school there and coached there. I'm just using that scenario.
Yeah.
That Vanderbilt, this is first for them. I think Indiana last year would have been excited if they didn't get in. I think they would have been excited and gone if they didn't get in. This year, I don't know. Once you taste it, I'm afraid there.
Well, the other
and the only thing that's going to be successful is get to 12 or 16 like it may end up being.
The other problem we have is it's a Wednesday with Watson presented by our friends at Simpson Beats. Watson stays with us all year long because he's got something to say about every sport. This guy's an absolute treat, an absolute treasure, the great Watson Brown. You bow thy head when you say thy name, and you do it with reverence on here, and maybe even hold your breath while you're doing it. But Watson, these opt-outs, I was poking around at Tennessee today, and, they're expecting 3 or 4 opt-outs, and it's getting ready to be opt-out season. We're going to start seeing guys, and then we're starting to see guys matriculate into the transfer portal as well. As a coach, how do you – Sean's right. How do you coach something that the kids on your roster don't care about to the degree you care about it?
Hard. Really, 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 really hard. Yes. When you're disappointed, there's 2 reasons to me that you don't want to go. Number 1, you're disappointed. Number 2, you've got quite a few guys on your team that the players know are going to opt out because they have great NFL potential.
Right.
And when that happens, and you're going to go play. Look at the ones that did go that had a bunch of opt-outs last year. There were some embarrassing games. So it can work both ways, Tony and Sean. It really can. That's why it's got to be looked at. And the only scenario I see, only one, is you've got to cut back on the bowls. And a lot of those bowls are ESPN. A lot of those bowls were set up by ESPN. The Birmingham Bowl, I was part of putting that bowl in place in Birmingham when I was the AD at UAB, a big part of putting that in place. So they set up all these that level of bowl, and I just think they're going to end up doing away with some of them before it's all said and done. You can't be sitting there with a bowl that's had all this work they've done all year, and they don't have enough teams to go. That you just can't have that happen.
Yeah, it's a rough deal. I'll tell you, it's I feel for
and
you.
Then Tony, if you take somebody that's 5-7, nobody's excited about that. The bowl's not excited about that. The fan base is not excited about that. And I promise you the players aren't excited about that.
Well, and all opportunities aren't created equal. I say this to the Tennessee fan base. We know the last time we went down to the Music City Bowl, we got absolutely roasted and toasted by a third-team quarterback. Brian, do you remember what John Adams told us that week leading up to that game? He said, I'd bet my house on Tennessee. I'd bet my house. And that Purdue team smoked. I mean, they smoked Tennessee like they weren't even there. And here's the thing. We just had an Illinois writer on, Watson. It's been there for a long time. He said, I'll tell you this. It's a big game to Illinois. Having Tennessee, having a signature team from the SEC in front of them, when Tennessee goes down there, that's not a big game for them, Watson. That's a very dangerous thing. And I think Tennessee's got a much better football team than Illinois. But that's a dangerous thing right there. When somebody cares and somebody doesn't, that's a dangerous thing.
Well, and it's also mindset, Tony. Tennessee was in the playoffs last year. They're a great example of what I'm talking about.
Right.
Once you get there,
that's right.
Nothing is good for you if you don't get back. And that's a shame, but that's the way. It's just fact. That's the way it is. Illinois has had a good team, and they, in their eyes, a good solid year. So it's a complete different mindset coming to.
What do you guys think, Sean? That is true. I heard the guy from Illinois go, "Hey, that's going to be a big game to these kids," and I'm thinking to myself, "Uh oh." Because of that motivation in bowl games, look, when you're betting those games last couple of years. My deal is when I'm putting my pools and my parlays together and just having fun with it is I'm looking at it and I'm going, who really wants to be in this game? Who really wants to be in this game? What do you think, Sean?
Unless there's a real cause for kids to not try hard, they're always going to compete. I mean, I truly believe no matter what year it is, 50 years ago, 50 years from now, kids are going to compete. And I think football players want to hit. I think receivers want to score touchdowns.
Yeah.
I think quarterbacks want to throw touchdowns. I think defensive linemen want to have sacks. So, the kids that are going to line up, I don't think they're going to sell out. The only time I've ever seen kids kind of quit is when, a coach they loved is fired or there's a locker room thing that's just gotten out of hand.
Yeah.
But, I think every bowl game will be well represented by their schools.
When I said Purdue smoked Tennessee, people are taking that on YouTube. How many yards did Purdue put on Tennessee with a third-team quarterback? I know Tennessee was in the game, but what did we think was going to happen in the game? I mean, let's get real here. They smoked us on defense. It was a smoke job. I'm sorry.
Well,
600 yards of offense, and they're running. I mean, y'all can,
that tight end they had is still running.
Hey, if y'all want to excuse that game of winning a bad call, go for it. But that was a third-team quarterback. I'm keeping it real here. That was a smoke job. That wasn't supposed to happen.
Well,
I'm going to go
and
back.
Tony, on top of what Sean said, what I'm talking about more is fan base. I think if you've got all your players, Tennessee will play really hard. I do. I really believe that. And especially their quarterback is a good leader, and he's proud to be on that team. And now how many they have opt out is a different world.
Yeah.
You start losing some of your better players, you can still play hard, but all of a sudden, guys, our business, college football is still two things. How good are your players compared to who you're playing? That's still what the game. That's the first two pieces. Now, be motivated, you got to be coached well. But how good are your players compared to who you're playing every week? And if Tennessee loses some of their really good players, then it changes their team. If they don't, I think they will play hard. I do. I don't think it's the players that I'm talking about. But the fan bases are not near as excited when their goals were much higher than that. And I've been on teams with that. I've been on that where we've been disappointed and win. We played hard. We maybe didn't get as good a following as we would have gotten if we'd have won one more game that year. You know, that's more what I'm talking about.
Yes. So, Brian, you wanted to say something.
Yeah, I remember a bowl game. I'm going back a ways here, but one year Tennessee played Maryland.
Yes.
And it was the year after they pointed by LSU getting knocked out of the national championship game and the SEC championship game.
Yes.
And they brought back a team that was expected to be really good. And they were, I think, 8-4. So they fell short of expectations. They went to a bowl game against an opponent that they probably, talent for talent, doesn't even have near the talent they do. But the team they played wanted to be there, and they the score ended up like 30-3 Maryland won. So I think that's an example of what we're talking about here, and hopefully that doesn't repeat itself.
Well, here's the thing we know about Tennessee. You're led by your quarterback. This is a huge game for Joey Aguilar. There is no way in God's green earth that kid would ever opt out of this game. This is going to be a huge opportunity for him.
It's the last game he'll ever play.
It might be the last time he gets a chance to put a uniform on. That's exactly right, Brian. Take the words out of my mouth. And Tennessee will have, 3 or 4 opt-outs probably. But at the end of the day, they're going to put a better team on the field than Illinois. That motivation thing, though, always does scare me, though, Watson. But let's move away from that for a second. I was asking you because we have a defensive coordinator opening now, which when you put up a performance, and I put that word in quotes, against Vanderbilt, the likes of which Banks is performance, generally at this level, somebody going to pay for that. And Tim Banks was the one. So now, Watson, there's a DC opening. Tennessee is thought to be talking to a guy who denied this yesterday, but the DC at Washington, these guys always deny things and then they miraculously happen. But let me ask you, in the modern game, if you were looking for a DC, Watson, would you look for a pressure guy, a zone guy, a mix guy? Where would you lean more, the pressure guy or the zone guy? What kind of DC would you look for in the modern game?
I would look for a guy that understands offenses and he's got answers for what people are doing to people in this world today. And to me, you've got to have all the pieces. You can't be an all-run offense. You can't be an all-pressure defense anymore. The offenses are too good. And so I think you've got to be able to handle everything you see, from still the wishbone people and the Air Forces and the Armies and the Navies of this world, the Vanderbilt style, which is very similar to a wishbone look, to the all-out Mike Leach styles, and everything in between. You better find a guy that understands all of these different offenses and has gone against them and has answers in his mind. Because what I think is happening that I'm seeing, it's not the game plans a lot of times. Sometimes it is, but it's the adjustments during the games. And if you're getting beat with something, you got to get it under control. The longer you let it fester, Tony, the more you end up getting in trouble and end up getting beat. You got to get something under control pretty quick. Sometimes even halftime's too late. And so that's what I'd look for. And I'm going to tell you, I've been on all the levels. I coached the Division II, coached the head coach on the FCS level, been a Group of 5 head coach, and been a coordinator and head coach on the Power 5s. There ain't no difference. If you're good, you're good. They'll find you. I wouldn't care where he came from. I wouldn't care. Quit going like these do, in my opinion. And this is just my opinion. Nobody else's. Doesn't mean it's right. But I think these ADs go out and want a name instead of go find a guy that fits what you need and it fits on your campus and your fan base and what you're really looking for, and quit trying to get everything off of a name. That name goes away after the press conference. You better be pretty good when it comes time to play. And if you're not, the head coach is going to pay for it, guys. And the other thing I'm seeing, with all this money being thrown around with players and coaches, patience is gone. There is no patience in this world.
No.
And the head coaches can be gone in a year. You better not get embarrassed and not do well. And for sure, if you're not doing well coaching-wise, fans can see technically we're not very good. We're not making good decisions. Now it's into the coordinators. These coordinators can be gone in 1 year's time. You can be up for Coach of the Year, National Coach of the Year 1 year as a coordinator, and you can be gone the next. That is the way it is. And if you don't understand that getting in the business, then that's on you, because it's not ever going to change again. When you're paying coordinators now, guys, $2 million, my gracious, they better get it done. And I would hire a coordinator that flat understands that, and don't come in outing around if things don't go good or excuse maker. You better understand when you walk in the door, it needs to be good next year, not 2 years from now, not 3 years from now, next year. And so I wouldn't care. I go find the best I can, but I think that's critical, Tony, because I'm not seeing enough guys that are making their packages are not complete enough. And once they do what they like and it don't work in the water. And I think that's a mistake. You've got to have a deep enough package to handle all these different kind of offenses in preparation in 1 week's time. That's all you get. Really 3 days. Tuesday, Thursday. You get 3 days.
Well, I mean, no offense to the Banks guy, but that Vanderbilt game. Enough said. You bring up an interesting point, though, right? We're seeing guys that are coming from these different levels. Like the guy that's a head coach at Texas Tech, nobody knew his name 3 years ago.
High school coach.
They gave money. They put money around that guy, Watson. They
said, and he's a good coach.
And he's winning.
He was a very good coach. And
he's
in
winning.
Texas, yeah. I mean, high school coaches are much closer to a college coach than people think. A lot of them are. A whole lot of them are. And that was a good move by Texas Tech. He was a well thought of man in that state for a long, long time. But what did they do?
Yeah.
They threw money around it. And what did he do? Very interesting. Did you all hear this the other day when they're talking about Texas Tech? He does not. He says he has a GM that makes all the decisions on who gets the money and whatever. He does his best to completely stay out of it. That's what I think is smart if you trust your GM. If he's right there with you on all the decisions that are made, and every kid that walks in that door, you know that kid, he knows that kid. And then the head coach don't have to be the one that's saying you get this or you get that. I think that's a big plus. But it was said on TV that he really does not know what each kid gets. He coaches the kids, and the GM makes the decisions on how much money they get. Very interesting thought. I hadn't heard that yet. That's the first time I've heard that.
Hey, Watson, back in the day when kids were, shall we say, aided along the way when they came to these, especially the Southeastern Conference and the Southwest Conference where you spent time as a head coach and as a coordinator, you laugh about those old Southwest Conference days. Did those coaches know back then what those guys were making, or were they kept away from it? Just as sort of a rule.
The players knew what they were making.
Did the coaches know?
In that locker room, they knew what they were making.
Did the head coaches know?
Yes.
Okay.
That's what I was. It's hard for me to know because I wasn't one of those. And I'm not patting my chest, but I never got around that. But I'm telling you, there's no way. The head coaches that I was going against in those days, strong-willed men, very sharp men. And the way they left their program is that they don't know, because there weren't such things as GMs and what we have in today's world. It was head coach, maybe a recruiting coordinator, and then the assistants did the recruiting 100%.
Yeah.
Now they don't. They're just coaches.
That's what Sean and I were talking about. That's what Sean
But they're not the ones finding them and doing all the little things that we as assistant coaches had to do in the old days. You're paid more money and you do less, but you have less security and stability. So, I mean, there you go. That's what it is today compared to the old days.
Hey, Cinco, these assistant coaches today, and the head coaches, it's never been an easier gig, has it, Sean, than it is today? I mean, you don't last long, but the gig is easy, man.
No, I believe Coach is right. It's the pressure's ramped up to go along with the money, but the duties have gone way down. You're not seeing GAs cutting and splicing film together. You're not seeing guys beating the bushes, going out and hunting down recruits.
Yep.
All that stuff, all that information and data has been farmed out to other companies that you subscribe to. Coaches don't have to sit there and look through 3 hours of film. They got a film crew that cuts up everything, and they can go through everything they need in about 15 minutes.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
They don't have to, it used to be assistant coaches used to have to, through the spring and stuff, they'd have to go farm, so to speak, their areas. If I was a low country South Carolina guy during the spring, I'd have to go through all their, shake every hand, et cetera, et cetera. That stuff rarely happens anymore. Everything's done on phones, Zoom, and through your NIL collective.
You're dead right, Sean. You're 100% right.
Hey, guys.
100%. These coaches get to coach football now. And that was just a piece of what you did back before all this started. That was just a piece, man. You had a lot of other things you had to do as an assistant coach. I had as many meetings over recruiting and academics and all of that with coaches than I did. I probably had as many with that as I did coaching over getting ready for a game or talking about offense or defense. It was a different world. Assistant football coaches wore so many more hats than they wear today.
Hey, Sink, do you remember when Fulmer first got that gig at Tennessee, and we were really following this recruiting thing, and people would track the airplanes? The guy would fly right before National Signing Day, Cinco. They would be all over the country.
Oh, yeah.
With these guys, flying thousands and thousands of miles. Cinco, when's the last time we've heard of that kind of thing in recruiting?
Coach could confirm this. I mean, those guys were all over the place. They're eating like 5 dinners in one night because they don't want to offend the mamas who put out their best food there. They're away from their families more. Now, these guys are multimillionaires now with agents and everything like that. But no, it's a totally different ball game for those guys. And frankly, I kind of chuckle when I hear them at the fact that, it's so tough, et cetera. It's come on. There's for every guy that wants to get out, there's 10 guys that want to get in.
Watson, the thing that's interesting now is Tennessee is going to focus on a quarterback, and my understanding is that they're going to maybe go big here and try to get somebody that can play. Man, I understand that quarterback market is really going to get expensive here because a lot of teams have seen what what Indiana's done, and that Indiana deal's really ratcheted up the pressure on a lot of people here, Watson.
Indiana, Texas Tech, Miami. It's being thrown around. Tulane is where they are because they spend a lot of money. They spend a lot of money on their quarterback. Spend a lot of money. It's a school that can come up with the money, and it's in a great town for NIL money. And so you're going to see that these cities. I read a thing where Utah's fixing to do $100 million deal with a company through their NIL and all of that. Unbelievable what's going on, guys, because all of a sudden everybody's saying, if I get enough money, I can now play with these guys. I can now recruit the same guys they're recruiting. And what did I say earlier? Again, it's what I believe. How good are your players compared to who you play? And how many of those good ones do you play in a year? That's what it's about. And then you have to coach them well and train them well and motivate them well and do all of that. But if you don't have the talent, it's the one sport where if you're not as good as who you're playing, you ain't winning very many times. It just don't happen. baseball, basketball, sometimes you can get hot in basketball. You can throw one pitcher out there and beat somebody that's really a good pitcher or whatever. But in football, with 11 dudes out there, it's really, you better be good to win the games. And if you're equal with them, you've got to outplay them. But I just think this money now, we're going to start seeing business come together with schools, announce this and that. Go look up this Utah thing that I just read recently, where it's $100 million deal that they're doing with some company with their athletic program. I mean, my gracious. And Texas Tech, some of these places have got these really well-off guys that have jumped on board and throwing money their way. And it works, guys, as long as you then bring in the right guys and motivate them. But it works. Now you get to go recruit. Texas Tech can go straight in and take on the Longhorns when that was very hard to do. I've told you all the story many times. I want to tell it real quick. I'm my first year at Rice. We've got this kid we've been recruiting for 2 months. It's the day before Sunday, the night before, and and he's committed to us. Well, he calls and says, "Coach, I'm backing out. I'm going to go to Texas." I said, "Texas came in and offered you?" "No, but they offered me their number one walk-on spot." I lose a guy to Texas as a walk-on to come to Rice, and it opened my eyes real quick, like. But I think those days are gone now. Really do. I think now if you throw enough money around, you're going to be there till the end, till the bitter end.
It is. It's a new day indeed when you look at who's in the playoff, and you look at the fact a lot of people think Indiana's got the best team in the tournament. Which, if you don't believe it's a new day, those words have. Unless we're talking basketball, and that was many moons ago. Indiana having the best team in a tournament in one of these sports, that has been a long time since we said that. And to say that in football, Watson, it almost feels surreal to say. It was almost surreal watching them, how physical they were with Ohio State over the weekend.
Well, and 2 of the top 4 in the ratings as far as 1, 2, 3, 4, as far as where their seating was, I've really thrown money around, guys.
Yes, sir.
And it's Texas Tech and Indiana. And everybody's looking at it saying, by golly, this works.
Yes.
And now everybody's running out and trying to put packages together to come up with more money. I don't know where this thing stops. But till it stops, these kids, these players are going to make more money than they ever thought they could ever make, ever. It's unbelievable. Yeah. Just a few years ago, they could not do this. They couldn't make money. So where it is today, these high school kids are coming out from my friends in the business telling me these 5-star quarterbacks and 5-star offensive tackles are signing multi-quarterbacks, signing $2.5 to $3 million contract, multi-year contract coming out of high school. Multi-year, 3 and 4 year contracts.
Hey, Watson,
for 2.5 a year. I mean, it's unbelievable what's going on. And guys, I don't see it. So I'm not saying it's plus or minus. I'm just saying this is the way it is. I don't see it letting up. I think they're going to keep making more money and more money till there's a point somewhere. They've got to come up with a way that there's a cap and you can only pay this much or that much or whatever. Till they do, now that everybody sees Tony and Sean, Brown, now that everybody sees they got a shot if they can come up with the money, look out.
And I'll tell you who's a rare bird, Watson. That quarterback at Illinois, because that guy just one of their beat reporters told me that he turned down. Tennessee basically doubled, a little worth of $2 million, what that kid was going to make coming into this season, and he turned the money down and basically told Tennessee's collective, "I'm happy here, and I'm happy with my coach, and I'm happy with my offense." Most guys,
and that's neat.
That's
neat
very,
that the kid did that, but that doesn't mean the kid taking the money is a bad kid.
Oh, no,
it's the way of the world, guys, and I can't get on the players for any of this.
No.
I just cannot do it.
No.
If it's sitting out there, I was a 5-star coming out of high school. Lord knows, this would have excited me. I can tell you that. So I can't. It's great that a kid stays like that. And I'm 100% in his corner. I love the Ty Simpson story.
Yep.
He stayed.
Yes.
And he's had a really good year because of it.
Yes.
But I can't get on the kid that also leaves and makes $2 million more than he was making. It's hard for me to do that.
The one guy that's the cautionary tale in this is the guy that Tennessee had last year. You don't make moves for spite in a business. You can make moves for business decisions.
That one hurt him.
Yeah,
that one hurt him, and because he's making less money and was on a poor team. Yeah. That to me is not what I'm talking about.
No, that's
not what I'm talking about at all. That's a different deal there, and you know, just we're all victims of our environment. How we grew up, and the parents and the people we were around as we grew up.
Yes.
That's what makes us all in this world. And it can also hurt you in some ways. You know, you can get some bad advice too. And I saw that with a lot of my kids in the NFL. You can get around the wrong people, it can really hurt you.
I talked to a guy the other day that was talking about you, Watson. Of course, you could have gone to Alabama. You were one of their prize guys, and you're one of the few people that said no to Bear Bryant to be the quarterback, to go down there and play. Somebody told me the other day that Watson Brown could have been a professional baseball player at a very high level, should he have chosen to do that. In his day, he could have played professionally in basketball, and he was a tremendous football player. They say you're one of the great athletes to ever come out of the state. They said, I don't know if you realize that or not. It was a feller that knew of you, probably about 10 years younger than you, but from your area, and said, Watson Brown, when I hear him on there, Tony, I don't know, this guy's he was an athletic legend in his day, like a legend. So I just wanted to say that for the kids listening. Watson knows from whence he speaks. Thank you, brother. Hey,
love you guys.
I love you, brother. Thanks, man.
Hang in there.
You're the
honor
man.
To be on with you.
You're the man. You're the man. The great Watson Brown, presented by our friends at Simpson's Meats. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, you're talking about a guy that literally, like, this guy was telling me, he said, Tony, we don't have video from back then. He goes, you're going to have to take my word for it. But when people tell you that this guy was a legendary athlete here, like he's one of the all-time great athletes to ever come out of the state of Tennessee. So there you go.
Tony.
Yes.
He was a starting quarterback at Vanderbilt and returned a punt for a touchdown. He was the punt returner and quarterback.
Wow.
At Vanderbilt.
So, Cinco, let's pivot. I was told that Tennessee's going to get serious once it's all happening concurrently. They're getting ready to really go high ticket shopping in the portal. Okay. They're getting ready to spend millions and millions of dollars in the portal. This is getting ready to get pretty serious up in here. They've got a bunch of money that they're getting ready to spend. This thing is getting ready to get a sense of urgency. Now, we'll see what they can get home with, how they spend it, how they do it. But I want you and Brian on the other side. I want you to prepare a shopping list for me. And let's just say, for the sake of the conversation, we have, I don't know, I'm going to throw a figure out that's very high, okay? Like that they're not going to spend, but we know they're spending $15 million in rev share money. But let's just say we've got another, I don't know, let's say 18 to 20 million to spend in the transfer portal. I want to know what percentage, Sean, of that money of $18 million you would allocate toward a quarterback. What percentage of that you would allocate toward your defensive line? What percentage of that you would allocate toward your linebacking core? What percentage of that you would allocate toward your secondary? And I want us to talk about that. And the number, and I would like other folks to chime in. Would you go big quarterback, or would you try and get the guy over, say, over at Old Dominion that people have talked about? Or would you go get an 11th Derby and spend north of $3.5 million for him, which is what it's going to take? The fact that Tennessee was willing to go north of 2 after the Nico thing speaks to two things to me. One, they got the money. because we had the guy from Illinois tell us that on the air. Some of you were cracking on the fact that the guy from Illinois was on here. I've been at this a little longer than you have, and the guy from Illinois was a damn good guest today, and that was highly illuminating. And it leads me to this. Somebody got some money somewhere. The fact that Rick Barnes was able to, and some would say, well, Tony, that was an old dispensation. We're under a new agreement now. Listen to me. If you think these Southeastern Conference teams are going to sit around and wait on whether or not some made up on the back of a napkin clearinghouse is going to clear these players before they get them on these rosters, you're out of your mind. You're going to ask for forgiveness later. And if you think with the big business that this is, that these guys are all going to watch and wait and see what other people do, I was told today that's not what's going to happen. I was told today that the loss to Vanderbilt has gotten some attention and some urgency has been pumped into this thing, and they're getting ready to spend some money. And I find this pretty interesting. I find it all pretty interesting. But let's say you got $18 million to play with. I want Sean. Let's put together a little shopping list here. Let's see how we can spend it, because this stuff is not cheap. It is not cheap. And by the way, you're also going to have to spend some of that money to keep guys on your roster as well. If you'll remember last year, Tennessee had a couple guys like a Mike Matthews who flirted around with the portal. Who else, Sean? Who else, Cinco?
Well, of course, the Boo Carter thing was the deal there.
Yeah, he got expensive.
Yeah, there was a thing about Ricky Gibson, whether his team, whether it was accurate or not, made a fuss, and then it died instantly. So there were guys out there. I don't inner workings, of course.
Yeah, and of course, what you want to do is, obviously, all these rosters, you want to take care of guys before it gets there. Like last year, I specifically remember with McCoy, they went to him like in October of last year when they realized he had another year. Now, obviously, it turned out to be not the greatest decision in the world because he got hurt. But, I mean, who can see those sorts of things? I want to remind you one more time, the great Watson Brown, because they did the right thing in locking him up. It just didn't work out well for them because he ended up getting injured. And the kid did his dead level best to get back, no doubt about it. You got to respect that. Our friends at Simpsons Meats, online at simpsonsmeats.com. Taking pre-orders now for the Christmas holiday. The centerpiece of your family meal can be found right at, ladies and gentlemen, our friends at Simpsons Meats. Also, remember, gift boxes available. They've sent hundreds of them. They ship premium meats anywhere in the world, simpsonsmeats.com. They've got a shop, West Knoxville off Level Road. We're going to come back on the other side. Thank you to the great Watson Brown. I want to remind you, we're live at Corner 16. We're going to be off Pellissippi Parkway. Bean Star will be in the house with us on Friday. It'll be utterly, utterly outstanding. We come back on the other side. And Naval in Kansas City just said something on YouTube that I want to elaborate on, which is you can also play 3D chess in the portal. And we'll talk about that as we continue with more on your other side right after this. Are you currently a residential electrician? Would you like more benefits, better pay, more upside? What about a $3,000 signing bonus? Free company paid health insurance, annual profit share, company vehicle, gas card, much more. Call Advent Electric today. Advent, known for their large commercial jobs around town, and due to high demand, they're adding additional roles for their residential department. Maybe you know a friend, family member that's a residential electrician. Spread the word. Email hr@adventelectric.com. hr@adventelectric.com. 865-588-0631 and ask for the Tony B 3K signing bonus. Advent Electric is hiring. You got to dream about buying some land and building on that land. Well, Waterside Contracting is your ticket. 25 years of making dreams come true, Michael Scott. For hundreds in our area, custom homes or remodels, Waterside Contracting will build on your lot. They do incredible work all over the area. Structural integrity, quality without compromise. It's a way of life with Waterside Contract. Check out the wonderful work Waterside does. WatersideContractingLLC.com. When it's time for your dreams to come true. Quality without compromising. Waterside Contracting.
College football fans, Chris Fowler here with the play call. This season, go for Dose with ice-cold, refreshing Dos Equis. It's more than a single play. It's a mindset. Think of it as a 2-point conversion for real life. Taking the risk, making the bold move. Whenever we get the chance to go big, we take it. On the field and off, always go for Dose with Dos Equis.
Enjoy Dos Equis responsibly. Copyright 2024 Dos Equis Lager Especial Beer. Imported by Cervezas Mexicanas, White Plains, New York.
Hi, I'm Jim Sampson, owner of Simpson's. When's the last time you grilled a really good burger or steak? One your friends still talk about. Our goal at Simpson Meats is to make that happen every time you have a cookout. All of our cuts of meats, steaks, burgers, briskets, and pork are always fresh, flavorful, and sustainably sourced. We are family-owned, so we know the importance of knowing how and where your food is raised. We have been putting quality first since 1888. Visit our butcher shop off Lovell Road or online at simpsonmeats.com.
Tony Basilio, and we are live once again with Chad Stockton of FC Alliance. And Chad, you're out there on the field, 100 strong here in Knoxville. Talk to me. What's been going on with FC Alliance now that the weather's heating up?
We're out here for the first time of the boys' tryouts. We have over 400 kids that'll be here tonight. So a lot of exciting times right now for us. Our club team started at U9 and we go all the way through U19. We have over 1,000 kids that come from Chattanooga from the Tri-Cities that make all our teams and make this club what it is today. So we're excited about it. We finished the younger kids a couple of weeks ago. We just finished the girls last night, and now we're on to our older boys program as we speak right now.
And we're blowing and going in the Tri-Cities. Tell me about it.
We started FC Alliance North 1 year ago, and coming off the first year, we are the largest, most competitive club up in the Tri-Cities area. We just finished our trials last night. Looks like right now we will be well over 400 kids for the upcoming season. So great things happening up there. We've put our boys into some really good regional leagues. So we're excited about what the future holds for them and also our girls programs.
If you want more information, check them out at fcallianceknox.org. That's fcallianceknox.org. Chad Stockton, keep growing the beautiful game here in East Tennessee.
Absolutely. Thanks, Tony.
Tony Basilio along with the great Mark Griffin. And we're here to talk about our friends at Performance Medicine. And Griff, their slogan, stay educated, stay healthy. That's you.
Wow. I really like to think that, Tony, and I'd like to give Dr. Rogers a lot of credit because I definitely want to stay educated and healthy, and knowing that he's putting the time and effort in to make sure of my care. I want to encourage your listeners to put the time to learn and become educated and get to know Dr. Rogers and see if it can help with your health as well.
And there's a really, really easy way to do that. In fact, they've got their own YouTube channel. You see Dr. Rogers for himself with his staff. It's called the Performance Medicine Show over at the Performance information at performancemedicine.net. To our friends in North Knoxville, a brand new location over in Fountain City, now accepting patients. So many ways to reach Dr. Rogers. And like they say, stay educated, stay healthy. Performance Medicine, online, performancemedicine.net.
Located in Knoxville's historic Old City, Barley's offers great food, live music, the best draft beer selection in town, and now your new favorite place to watch sports. Their indoor projector is perfect for any weather, and they've revamped their upstairs area with more TVs to take in all of the action. Their menu features hand-battered chicken tenders, juicy burgers, fresh salads, and the tastiest pizza in Knoxville. You can enjoy their happy hour drink specials daily from open until 6 p.m. Barley's Tap Room and Pizzeria.
The season of giving reminds us of what truly matters, community and connection. Hi there, Jennifer Morris here with Keller Williams Realty. As the year closes, I wanted to take a moment to